Months of investigation led to a multi-agency sting operation at a Latson nightclub.
America, we just witnessed one of the most massive cartel takedowns in U.S. soil. 200 federal agents stormed a Charleston nightclub at 3 a.m. and arrested 80 people, including high-level members of 2 different Mexican cartels and an international murder suspect wanted by Interpol. But here's what's really shocking. They also rescued 7 human trafficking victims and found 10 underage kids inside, including a 13-year-old and 1 reported missing child. This isn't just a nightclub. This was a full-scale cartel operation hiding in plain sight.
Around 3 a.m. Sunday, officials with the Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, Charleston County Sheriff's Office, and more descended on the Alamo, a nightclub officials have been keeping an eye on for months.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This operation, called Operation Last Stand, just exposed how Mexican cartels are using American nightclubs as fronts for trafficking, money laundering, and God knows what else. And the best part, this happened under Trump's watch with real immigration enforcement. Let me break down what happened early Sunday morning in Charleston at 3 a.m. when the Alamo nightclub was packed with people. 200 law enforcement from 14 different agencies surrounded the building and conducted what can only be described as a military-style operation.
I saw dancing, I saw people smiling, having a good time, and then boom, everything just went to chaos.
Immediately thought about my mom. I thought about my dad, what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to my friends.
This wasn't just some random raid. Law enforcement have been watching this place for months. Sheriff deputies knew this location was a source of a lot of disruption, crime, assaults, drug dealing in this particular area. What they found inside was far worse than anybody could expect.
Both Herrera and Tanico were there on Sunday when around 200 law enforcement officers corralled the Alamo nightclub parking lot. Hours of yelling and crowding as each person inside was checked and processed.
The operation involved the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, Charleston County Sheriff's Office, and 10 other agencies. When you need 14 different law enforcement agencies to take down one club, you know that you're dealing with something incredibly massive.
116 warrants issued, 80 people arrested, and an undisclosed number of cocaine, an unknown substance, and U.S. currency seized.
They served 116 criminals and immigration warrants and arrested 80 people. But here's the kicker. 60 of those people were believed to be in the country illegally. So not only was this a criminal operation, it was also a massive immigration violation. And you know what, guys? Speaking of protecting vulnerable people from predators, our seniors are under constant attack from Medicare scammers who are almost as bad as these cartel criminals. While we're watching cartels exploit traffic victims, there are millions of seniors getting ripped off by dishonest Medicare salespeople every single day. That is why I'm proud to partner with Chapter. They're completely opposite of these predators. Chapter actually protects seniors instead of exploiting them. No high-pressure sales tactics, no commission-driven recommendations, just honest guidance from licensed experts who help you find the right Medicare plan for your needs. Here's the difference. Medicare scammers prey on confusion and fear, just like cartels prey on vulnerable people. But Chapter advisors are salary, not commission-based, so they have zero incentive to push expensive plans that you don't need. They take the time to understand your health needs, your budget, your doctors before making any recommendations. If you're 65 or approaching Medicare eligibility or helping parents navigate through this crazy system, don't let Medicare predators take advantage of you. Chapter makes it simple. It's completely free, no hidden fees, no surprise charges. Check them out at askchapter.org/Tyson. Again, that's askchapter.org/Tyson, or call them at 270-467-0614. When criminals are targeting vulnerable people, you need somebody that you can actually trust. Let me show you exactly which cartels were operating in this Charleston nightclub. Here's where the story gets really serious. Among those arrested were members of 2 of the most violent criminal organizations in the world, Tren de Aragua and Los Zetas cartels. For those of you that don't know, Tren de Aragua is a Venezuelan mega gang that's spreading across the United States like like cancer. They're involved in everything from human trafficking, drug smuggling, to violent crimes. Los Zetas, meanwhile, are one of Mexico's most brutal cartels, known for their extreme violence and sophisticated operations.
Deputies identified 2 behind bars as members of the Tren de Aragua and Los Zetas cartels. Another, a Honduran murder suspect. Benjamin Reyes Flores, who owns the Alamo, is booked at Alcant.
But here's where it gets worse. They also arrested a Honduras murder suspect wanted by Interpol. This guy was literally an international fugitive hiding out in a Charleston nightclub. Think about that. We had an international murder suspect just hanging out in South Carolina while our borders were wide open under the Biden administration. The owner of the nightclub, Benjamin Flores, is now sitting in a detention center facing federal charges. This wasn't just some guy who rented out a space to the wrong people. Investigators believe he was actively involved in this criminal operation. But the most disturbing part of the story is what they found inside of the nightclub. 7 people investigators believe are victims of human trafficking and 10 underage kids, including one as young as 13 years old. Let that sink in for a minute. A 13-year-old kid was inside a nightclub at 3 a.m. where cartel members were conducting criminal operations. One of the minors was actually reported missing, meaning this child's family has been looking for them.
Investigators said they found 10 underage patrons inside, the youngest being 13, and 7 possibly trafficked victims.
All this time. Now, how did this happen? One way it happened is when you don't have strong law enforcement, this is what happens.
This is exactly what happens when you have open borders and weak immigration enforcement. Criminal organizations move in, set up shop, and start preying on the most vulnerable people in our society, children and trafficking victims.
Officials also discovered several people they believe are victims of human trafficking in the club, as well as several juveniles, including one who is reported missing.
Governor Henry McMaster didn't mince any words about what caused this type of situation. He said one way it happened is when you don't have strong law enforcement. This is what happens. And when you have illegal immigration, people with criminal backgrounds, people bent on causing trouble that are recognized, some as terrorists, that are allowed to come through a completely open border. This is what you get. During the raid, agents seized firearms, cocaine, fentanyl, and a bulk of currency. They also confiscated 4 vehicles that are likely being used in this criminal operation. This nightclub wasn't just serving overpriced drinks. This was a full-scale criminal enterprise with drugs, weapons, and cash flowing through it. The fact that they had fentanyl on the premise shows these cartels are directly contributing to the overdose crisis killing Americans every single day.
Deputies said they also seized 4 vehicles and recovered an undisclosed amount of cocaine, an unknown suspect, and bulk currency. Those arrested, they say, could face various charges, including assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of a firearm.
Some of these criminals actually fought back against law enforcement during the raid, which tells you everything you need to know about their mindset. But here's what's really important. Investigators say that they expect more developments in this case, including additional arrests and charges. This raid was just the beginning. They're going after the entire network. The Hispanic community in Charleston is actually applauding this operation. Enrique Grace of Charleston Hispanic Association made it clear that law-abiding immigrants don't want criminals in their neighborhoods.
The community is applauding what happened because the Hispanic community and the immigrant community doesn't want criminals in their backyard. I mean, that's kind of why they left the country they are to come here. So we applaud what happened. That place has been around for a long time. I guess nobody knew what was going on in there, but we're pretty happy that the bad guys are off the street.
That's exactly right. Legal immigrants come to America to escape the violence and corruption of criminal organizations. They don't want these cartels following them here and terrorizing their communities. But some people are complaining about how these raids are conducted, saying it erodes trust in the community. Are you kidding me? This place was harboring cartel members, trafficking victims, missing children, and people are worried about trust? Trust this operation made the community safer. When you remove cartel members, trafficking victims get rescued, missing children get found, and law-abiding citizens can live their life without fear.
The operation prompting a surge on social media. Charleston's immigration group saying the way this raid happened, quote, eroded trust.
And yesterday, the flea market was empty. There was no one there.
America, this is what real immigration enforcement looks like. When you have an administration that's serious about securing our borders and going after criminal organizations, you get results like Operation Last Stand. 2 cartel members off the streets, an international murder suspect in custody, 7 traffic victims rescued, 10 children, including a missing child, found and protected, drugs, weapons, and criminal cash all seized. This is the difference between the Biden administration's administration's catch and release policies and Trump's approach of actually enforcing our law. Under Biden, these criminals operated with impunity. Under Trump, they're getting smashed by federal law enforcement. Governor McMaster was absolutely right. This is what happens when you have weak law enforcement and open borders. Criminal organizations move in, set up shop, and start preying on our communities. But when you have strong leadership that's willing to use all the available resources to go after these criminals, you can shut down their operations and rescue their victims. The fact that 14 different agencies work together in this operation shows the level of coordination and commitment we have in fighting these cartels. This wasn't just local police, this was a full federal response. I'll keep you updated as more arrests and charges come out of this investigation. And remember, this is what happens when we have leadership that actually cares about protecting American communities from foreign criminal organizations. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.